All right, we're on. Hey guys, we're gonna start in just a second. Just waiting for Jesse to come in, sit down, and take your spot, and then we can start the show. It's only 8:28, so technically 2 minutes, so we're good. A little fun fact before we start the show: I uh, I made coffee and made a complete mess in the kitchen. Just a little fun fact for you. Little
Is
little,
it
little
good,
tidbit into my personal life. I just made a nightmare of the kitchen.
good quality coffee though?
Ah, Dunkin' Donuts. It's a Keurig. We just got a new machine. I bought Jessie a new coffee machine for her birthday because that's what she wanted. Stop judging me like that, guys.
How do you make a
Oh,
mess with
come
a
on.
Keurig?
I managed to make a mess. This thing was expensive, by the way, guys. Don't think I'm a cheap bastard. Um, yeah,
Well,
so
you are, but
totally.
not, not in everything.
But yeah, so like I used the wrong thing because it's like a double. It's a Keurig and it's a regular coffee maker.
Hmm.
Made a total mess.
Yeah, you're not supposed to open those canisters up and
But
pour them in
but I
there.
got my coffee, so I'm happy.
Hey,
I don't know where Jesse is. So sorry, guys. We're gonna start in a minute, guys. We're just waiting for Jesse to come and down, guys. If you want, give us a call. Give us a call 848-468-7924. 808 got swag. Give us a call. We are talking about useful apps for geocaching. We're not talking about your regular CGO and caching. We're talking about the other apps you use, the apps you use for the puzzles, and the apps you use for the multis and stuff like that. Maybe
yeah.
perhaps find an app you might love and it'll be your new favorite app. You never know.
And if you got a favorite app, call in and let us know.
Call 808-468-7924 is the number to call.
So I'm a little bit, I guess I'm quite a bit louder than you are right now, according to the chat room.
You
Thank you, Joshua, for letting us know.
are, but here's the thing though. You are, but like when it comes to the audio, it's not. That's the problem. Is that like you're not
Hmm,
on the recorded, you're low. That's the funny thing. So it's kind of difficult, but we'll do the best we
that's
can.
weird.
I'll lower him a little bit, guys, but there I lowered him a little bit. Actually, let me bring him up here. Sorry, and bring you down over. Yeah. Talk now.
Hey, Mayberry man, how are you doing?
Best I'm gonna get, guys. I know he's louder. Here, I'll turn me up a little bit. I know he's louder, but trust me, if you listen to it, which most people do, most people listen to it in their ears at work or on the car. We are even Steven. So unfortunately, with this kind of thing, it's coming through a little louder. But we're doing the best we can. We also got to be able to hear the callers. All right, it is 8:30. I got to start the show. Jesse Brown, you ready? Give me a thumbs up. All right, Taz, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Let's start the show.
You wanna know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. But come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache. And if you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday evening. It is 8:30 p.m., which means that it is once again time for the Geocaching Podcast. I am Scott Bergs. We got Shorty Knits Man on the phones, and please welcome my co-host, Chad Taz427.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Android and iOS users alike, get your smartphones ready.
I told them off air, guys, I'm just going to start calling him Chaz, which is Chad and Taz combined, because I do it anyway, because I start with Chad, and I go, no, I should use this caching name. So I go Taz, and it just winds up being Chaz.
I'm
So
gonna change my caching name to Chaz Hands.
Chaz Ant. I'd appreciate if everybody in California start calling him Chaz. It'd be really appreciated. All right, guys. Tonight's episode 534, recorded live on 10/24/18. It's useful apps for geocaching. The phones lines are open, so give us a call at 808-468-7924 as 808 got swag. But before that, guys, before we start this show, hey Chaz, see, oh god, it like rolls off the tongue. Dude. It rolls off the tongue. Before we start, Chaz, we need to talk about Patreon, guys. it was so awesome with everybody last week, all those patrons, and it takes a lot of costs a lot of money to make this show work and to make this show run and to have callers takes some money. We got callers I see right now. We got callers in the room right now. So I want to thank our current subscribers, our current ones that we had last week. And guess what, Chad? Guess what?
What?
We got new ones. We got more.
Awesome.
We got JD Kint out of Pennsylvania. He actually did it on the show, during the show. JD Kint knuckled up and gave us some cash. God bless you, JD Kint. Thank you so much, buddy. Lady Black Cat out of Texas. Another one out of Texas, Chad. Another one. Said, I'm going to step up to the plate and help you guys out.
Yeah, we need some California boys stepping up here.
How about this? The mighty England, Great Britain, the mighty UK giving us some pounds, banana sauce out of the mighty UK, giving us some poundage. What do you think of that?
That's awesome. Is that Jamie? Who's banana sauce?
Banana sauce was Mark Dowding.
Mark. Okay.
Really nice note. Said, hey, thanks. The show's sounding great. I'm loving the new format. Thank you so much. So thank you, banana sauce out of the
all right.
Scrap Cat out of Michigan, dropping some coin, saying thanks for the show. And just this morning, I got one from Land Monkey out of Vancouver, British Columbia.
And Land Monkey's in the chat room right now too.
Land Monkey's also in the queue. I see him in the queue right now.
All right.
In fact, I'm going to bring him in right now. Hold on. Hey, Land Monkey, you there?
Gentlemen, how are you?
How you doing, Jay? Hey, first of all, thank you so much for being a patron. I appreciate it very much.
It's my absolute pleasure. I really believe in what you guys are doing with this podcast, and I know you're trying to get it up off the ground. I know there's a lot of infrastructure costs, and so I'm helping out where I can.
And
we appreciate it.
We totally appreciate that. And this is exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say what the nice note he wrote me, but he just said the nice note he wrote me. He actually just said it. He said,
Yeah, well, you know how us podcasters are. You can't get us to shut up.
So I wanted to bring you on because you were in the queue. I'm assuming you want to talk about tonight's app stuff. I'm assuming you have apps, correct?
I do. Well, I also want to talk about Scott's personal life, but yeah, let's start talking about it.
Okay, hold on one more second. Let me just finish up here. You could hang on the line and feel free to chop in whenever you want. So guys, if you can give anything you can, it's patreon.com, the Geocaching Podcast. Patreon.com, the Geocaching Podcast. Chad, that's you now.
Hey, we would also like to welcome our new sponsor to the show, Cachely. Cachely is an advanced geocaching app for iOS. It features powerful online and offline features, including filtered searches, offline maps, and offline saving of caches. Cachely has hundreds of advanced features that will make your geocaching experience just that much better. And we would also like to thank Podcast for mentioning us coming back on the air in their recent episode 651. You can get a link to that show in our show notes.
Thank you, Chad. And one more thing too, I want to talk about Cachely. Obviously, it's an iPhone only app, and this is an app show. I do use Cachely, and I love it. And Nick, who created it and is the sole person who works on it, is an amazing guy. And I want to tell you a really quick story about how awesome Nick is. Nick, I was working on, I was doing some caching on Thanksgiving Day a couple years ago, and I'm a beta tester of Cachely. And so I was out beta testing a new version that he had, and I came across something, and so I sent him a quick email, literally on Thanksgiving, saying, "Hey Nick, I know it's Thanksgiving, don't worry about it. I just wanted to send you this real quick, just to say app's great, but I found this error." And literally 10 minutes later, he emails me back, dude. I'm like, dude, stop emailing me.
So update it.
It's Thanksgiving. Stop it. But just like the fact that go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've had the pleasure a couple of times of meeting Nick in person. And if you to all your listeners, if you ever get the opportunity at a mega event or any event where Nick is there and you get the opportunity to meet Nick from Cachely, he's easy to find because he's wearing the big Cachely shirt. But he is an awesome guy. He's got all the time in the world to talk to you about apps and geocaching. Well, I guess maybe I shouldn't overextend his courtesy, but he is an awesome guy, and he's incredibly knowledgeable, and yeah, fantastic product.
Yeah, he's been on the show once or twice, and we've had conversations, and he's a great guy, and very like he encourages you to come with ideas to him. I've come with an idea or two to
Yeah.
him, and he's been like, oh, that's totally going in a future version. Like, yeah. So he's all about making the app better, and it's not even his full-time job. Amazing. And geocaching hasn't hired him yet to work on the app. But I digress. All right, so let's move on to the well, one more thing. I'm so sorry, Land Monkey. One more thing. We have hey Chad. Guess what? We've got an email, dude.
We got an email.
We've got an email.
I got mail.
We got mail.
Yay, I got mail. Yay.
We got mail, Chad. Hey, this comes from Cash Misers. Sent us an email and said, I see your topic this week is about apps to use for geocaching. I like to do a lot of hiking, West Virginia especially, and I get zero cell phone coverage. Thanks, Verizon. What do you use when you're offline? Chad, what do you use when you're offline?
That really depends a little bit. A few minutes of no coverage. I still typically use my phone in an offline mode. So I'm Android, so no cachely for me. I use CGO with offline maps. But if I'm really out there hiking and spending a good long amount of time, I don't want to drain my cell phone battery. I use my Garmin Oregon 650. And I also use free maps on a micro SD card from openmapchest.org that are also navigable and usually have very great trail maps in them associated as well. And that gets updated really frequently. So, a couple times a year, I pull down a new set of the US maps and load it up on my GPS.
There you go. Yeah, see, I have a Garmin 450 that literally this day and age sits in my bag. I rarely go anywhere without. This does not have any that has zero phone coverage. When I do know, because I know certain places that do, Jessie is really, really crazy about offline lists. She loves those. So I always usually, if I'm out with Jessie, I usually have an offline list. So she usually just throws it in the Dropbox. So I have it, and I usually just load it up. Hey, Lamb Monkey, what do you use? What do you got when you have no phone coverage? What do you use? Well, I know
most of the time I've got no phone coverage, and you and I have talked about this a couple of times in the past.
Did we have did we have a whole argument about this? I recall.
We did, yeah. We took over Daryl's podcast. Right. No, I am still an avid GPS user, but that said, so my primary go-to is the GPS. But before I'm planning a hike or a road trip or anything like that, I load up 2 other devices with offline maps and offline caches, and that is my Samsung smartphone. So I'm also an Android user, and then as I use CGO with the offline maps and their offline stored caches. Works really well as a backup system. So I have that as my, oh shoot, I need more than 5 logs to go back or other things. The other thing we use is a tablet. We have a Android tablet that we use for navigating in the vehicle. So Mrs. Monkey's got that out, and she's able to use that to say, oh yeah, you know what, this Forest Service road ends, don't go down that one. We're going to, go another 2 kilometers. So that's kind of our system. We use both technologies and it works really well for us.
Yeah, it's great to have a big screen tablet to either an iOS one or an Android one to kind of get the map and show you where everything is when a smartphone just doesn't quite cut it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean,
I think it depends on your age too.
Well, I've been caching for 10 years, but I mean, I used the Garmin 450 for years, but it's just the phones have gotten better and better and better, to the point where it's almost, I have it in my bag, but I haven't taken that Garmin out for a long time. long time.
Yeah.
I'm just too worried about the phone. There's a lot of conditions that I am out in where I'm like, oh, you really don't want it to get rained on or
Right.
accidentally drop it in this river or whatever. So
Right.
Well, a lot of the smartphones today are water resistant, like IP67 or whatever. Where I've literally dropped mine in my pool and taken it out and didn't even bother putting it in a bag of rice.
You didn't rice it after the pool?
Nope.
Wow.
It's supposed to be able to
You
go
are-
5 meters deep for 30 minutes.
And hey, Jesse Brown, what do you do when you're offline?
Well, my GPS broke, and I don't have a new one.
And yet you didn't ask. And I
So-
noticed you asked for a coffee maker for your birthday, not a GPS.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, you have to like plan where you're going and what you're doing and constantly update your GPX file on your GPS. So honestly, it's just easier for me to use a smartphone, or maybe I'm too lazy. I don't know, one or the other. So yeah, I mean, if I know I'm going somewhere where there's a possibility I won't have coverage, I definitely will download that area to my offline list on my smartphone. And, I always make sure that I have the offline maps for whatever state I'm going to be in ready to go, just in case I need it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a funny story that, in the hills of West Virginia, it is possible to not only not have cell signal, but also not have GPS signal. So I have family. Yeah, I have family that lives in literally in the hills of West Virginia in the middle of nowhere. And I was out on the family farm, and I decided I wanted to take cords of the farm so I could go home and look at a map and try to figure out exactly where it is, because it's like literally in the middle of nowhere. And so I pulled out my GPS and turned it on and let it load up and everything. And I looked down at it, and it said, location unknown, plus or minus 4 meters. So, sometimes even GPS is no good.
I think you
depending on where you are.
That's because you're from where the Undertaker was from. That's parts unknown. That's where you were from.
So I remember in Texas and the Lollalob pines, these 120-foot pines that is fairly dense. I could get a GPS signal. Half the time I would get no GPS signal. The other half of the time it's bouncing around everywhere.
It's pretty amazing. That is pretty, that you cannot get a GPS signal.
Yeah. If I get out in the clearing, not a problem. I get off that clearing and the density of it. And this is with a Garmin 650 that has both GLONASS and GPS satellite receivership.
Right.
So it's still possible.
All right, Land Monkey, we're here. Tonight's episode 534, useful apps for geocaching. Apps other than what you use to technically find a cache. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about caching. We're not talking about CGO. We know those are awesome. And the geocaching, of course, the geocaching app. We're talking about the other apps you use. The apps you use when you're trying to do a puzzle cache. You're trying to do a multi-cache and all that kind of stuff. So give us a call, guys. Phone lines are open, 808-468-7924. Good Lord.
808 got swag.
Thank you. 808-468-7924. And we've got Land Monkey on the phone. Land Monkey, you start us off. Give me your first app. What do you got?
So I would throw one at you that's a little bit different. It's not for finding a cache, it's not for placing a cache.
Fair enough.
It's for trackables, and that's TB Scan.
That is on my list.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's on Chad's list as well.
As well. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, love it.
I had heard about it. I thought, oh, that sounds kind of neat. I tested it out. I thought, I need this. I am pretty impressed at how well that OCR works on that app.
It really does, yes. And let me just tell people, if they don't know, guys, in the show notes, after this show is on, in all the show notes, we'll have links to all the apps we talk about tonight, including ones we might not even get to. So all of my apps, all of Taz's apps, and all of Jesse's apps will all be in this. Again, TB Scan is something you can discover and log travel bugs and coins without having to type the tracking code. As soon as you point your camera at the code, it will instantly get recognized. That is the tagline for TB Scan.
There you go. Absolutely. And it works really well. The thing I have found is there are times when there's not enough contrast, or the font's too small, or the font's a little buggered up and you can't quite read it. So what you have the option that you can actually also type in if you need to. So that is handy. That works quite well.
You absolutely.
Yeah. And I find tilting it sometimes where the light hits it just right so that it gets that perfect contrast helps.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Tilting it usually works for me, unless if it's an older coin or scratched up or something like that. Then you also have the option of typing in and all that. So
yep.
Yeah, it's a great app. It really is. Anything else, Lamb Monkey? You got anything else?
Well, I'm also a big Where I Go fan. So, the Where I Go player apps on the smartphones are fantastic ones to have. You can't go wrong with those for sure.
No, the actually on the iPhone, the app is called Where I Go, and you could download cartridges for free from the official Where I Go website, right from the app, and play at your leisure. Note that cartridges are retained for as long as you need them and do not expire. Time estimates given on the website and in the cartridge description are for expected playing time.
Yeah, the one I use for Android is called Where You Go, YOU, not the letter U. And since I've been using it, initially when it first came out, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and you still had some of the flakiness of a Where I Go cartridge crashing on you. But over the last, I'd say 3 years, I haven't had a cartridge crash on me. Unlike if I load that cartridge up in my Garmin 450, I can pretty much guarantee it's going to crash on me eventually.
That's what we do is everybody loads it up and you see who's the winner, who's the last person.
Exactly. But now they've improved. The apps have improved to the point of you don't need to worry about that so much.
Yes. I remember once we did 5 of us doing it and there was one sole survivor. It's like Survivor, with Where I Go.
Yep.
Zombie apocalypse Where I Go. There you go.
Yes. Anything else, Lamb Monkey, you can think of offhand?
Those are the two I had top of mind that I thought I would throw out there. You've done a great Vanna White job on describing each of them, Scott. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Both of us had them on our list. That's both on our list. Quality apps.
There you go. So I'll jump off the line now, make room for your other callers. But thank you so much for taking my call, and thank you for bringing the show back, guys.
Hey, man, thank you for calling in. Please call in again. We love hearing from all you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. All right, Chad. Hey, everybody, give us a call. Feel free to give us a call. The phone number is 808-468-7924. Chad, your turn. Go.
Okay, so we beat CGO Cachely to death. So let's go with something a little bit different. GCC, which is the geocaching calculator, is one of my go-to ones. It is great for converting for coordinate related stuff such as converting, distance and bearing, projections, midpoints, cross bearing intersections, etc. Ciphers, all kinds of pi related stuff, periodic tables, resistor codes, over 250 different geocaching tools for helping you figure out a mystery cache.
And is it all that in a
Yeah, I mean, I love it, especially if I'm out there in the field and actually I would say some of the things, even if I'm not out in the field, I'll pull it up and use it to do the calculations because it's easier to do that than a lot of the websites.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got, obviously, guys, again, if I didn't mention this before, I think it. Chad is doing all Android apps because he's an Android user, and Jessie and I have iPhones, so obviously we're doing iPhone apps. For me, for that kind of in the same vein is the IGCT, the Geocaching Toolkit, and the Geocaching Toolkit can help you using the following features. It does waypoint calculations, it does text calculations, it hint descriptions, Roman numerals, all that kind of stuff, for puzzles and stuff like that. But waypoint is the big one. I use this thing all the time for waypoint stuff. I can usually get it done way faster than just Jessie trying to figure it out, and I just go, here, just give me the course, So there's also GC Tools, which is under the same vein, another app I use. Here you can find the tools to get your next multi and mystery caches done easily. It helps with coordinates, ciphers, interactive data tables, converters, kind of stuff like that. It's one of those all around, Swiss Army knives, kind of apps. Jesse, you got one for us? You want me to read yours?
I saw your list and I pretty much used all of those. And so I added a few to my list that are not specifically geocaching related, but are kind of neat and or come in handy. And the first one is one called All Trails that is like 50,000 trail maps all over, at least all over the U.S. I've never really looked outside of the U.S., so I don't know if it's outside of the U.S. But and then you can like review trails and recreational areas. You can add pictures, etc., which is really handy if you want to know, can I take my bike there? Or is it kid friendly? Or is it going to be good for a stroller? Whatever your situation might be. And then it has a few other features. You can record your track, take pictures along the way. You can share your track. It has a feature that you can update people in your contact list to tell them where exactly you are. And then they do also have a pro version with extra features like offline and printable maps you have to pay the pro for. So I thought that was a really useful and handy map app.
Fair enough.
Map app.
Why don't you give us one more?
Well, I have a few others. One is called Relive. I don't know if it's Relive or Relive, but
probably Relive.
Either way, it makes sense. Relive. Okay, we'll go with Relive. So it will use your fitness tracker GPS track and then tie that in with any pictures that you've taken along the way if you have your geolocation turned on your photos. And then it will do a sort of flyby through the scenery and topography and show your pictures where you took them on the route along the way. And it's just kind of a neat thing sort of to give you an overview of your trip, of your route that you took. I've done that quite a few times. Maybe I'll see if I have a good one that I can show up, put up as an example.
Yes.
So I thought that was a really neat one.
For the patrons.
Oh, hey, there you go.
But yeah, she showed it to me, and it's really cool, guys. If you have an iPhone, Relive is a really, really cool app. It really, really is. All right, thank you, Jessie.
You're welcome.
Chad, you want to continue?
GDAC, which is the Geocaching Droid Army Knife. So this is for all the GSAC users out there. So this is basically a mini GSAC tool for your phone. You can download your GPX file on there and then filter things out, set it up so if you're specifically looking for specific types of caches, and through all your stuff, and it'll do it on a pretty big map display. And so if you're trying to find that needle in a haystack or the weird odd caches in the area and you don't have a laptop with you, GDAC is a great tool.
Really?
Yep.
I'm assuming that's Android only too.
Considering it's Geocaching Droid Army Knife, yes.
Here's a quick easy one. The Compass app. Now, this is an Apple app. It's literally an Apple app. I use this thing so much; it's ridiculous. How often I use this Compass app. I'm probably the only person that uses it, that actually uses the Compass app on the iPhone. But I literally use it all the time.
I use my Compass app on Android, so I mean they come in handy.
I am usually totally lost, and so I quickly pull out my phone. I'm like, all right, where are we? Which way is north? But I use that all the time.
And certain things like what do you call letterboxes, hybrid letterboxes, where they tell you to go, this way north, south. That definitely comes in handy for letterboxes.
Yeah, and then DMS Converter as well. This is an app. It easily converts between digital decimal degrees and degrees, minutes, seconds, DMS notation. Then easily view the converted coordinates in the Maps app or send it to a GPS log. or copy to the clipboard using the standard iPhone functions. This is actually kind of nice because you see this a lot in puzzles that
Mhm.
that once or twice on. Give me another one for you, Ted.
So GPS averaging. So it's a great tool for averaging coordinates on your smartphone. Don't be a one-shot coordinate ninny when placing a cache.
Is that the actual text?
It's the actual title, GPS averaging.
But no, the whole ninny comment is that
That's mine. No, these comments that I put in here are my own personal comments, not their marketing spiel.
Straight from the marketing spiel here is what I'm pulling. I'm not use all these, but I'm just pulling marketing spiel here. Is what I'm doing. So
Okay.
that's kind of nice. And averaging, really, how does that work on a phone? It just pulls averaging.
It just keeps on pulling the coordinates and it averages the coordinates over time.
That's very
just like it's not that difficult. I mean, just when it basically, like I said, it keeps on pulling the coordinates and averaging them. I mean, all you do is effectively add them and divide by by the number that you've added.
Mm-hmm. And do you use this app when you're out placing caches?
Yes, exclusively. And one of the great things about it too is that you can you can share it with anything basically. So you can send an email, you can put it in your notes, you can send it pretty much anywhere you want. And then so I usually put it in my notes and put comments behind it as to details about the cache that I placed.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Something funny about placing caches, not to go off on a tangent here, but like I was just the other day, I was out placing caches the other day because I archived a whole series of that I had that was almost 10 years old. It was like May of 09, almost 10. But like the actual, it was like a 4-stage and the fifth, you do all the 4 and then you go to the final, the fifth final. And the final was being where it was getting destroyed. They're redoing the whole area. And so I just archived the series because it doesn't really get hit anymore. It's an old series,
Mm-hmm.
and it just doesn't get hit much money anymore. And so what I did is I wanted to place a couple and they were all puzzles. So I wanted to place a couple caches where those old puzzles were, and one of them was it was in a park under like a kid's apparatus, kind of a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a key holder underneath. And so I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll swap out the log and boom, there you go. And I'll just take the cords and boom. So I do that and I rename the cache. Just I archive it and then put a new same cords, put it up, and it gets denied. It got denied.
Why? They say there's another cache there?
No, no. They said that you can no longer place caches on kids' apparatuses in the park. Has to be 150 feet away from a kid's apparatus.
Serious?
Yeah. I'm like, when did this? If I would have known this, I wouldn't have archived this cache. I would have just like renamed it, and like, when did that happen?
I don't know.
And it was a great hide too, and like, I had no idea that they did that. That geocaching did that. Apparently, you can't, or it's just my reviewer. But he said you cannot place caches within 150 feet of playground equipment.
Really?
Yep.
And I've had a number of park caches like that would have been disqualified today. Yeah. I guess these are the times we live.
So yes, if anybody else has had that happen to them or gotten a cache like denied for something like that you had no idea, like that wasn't like that a few years ago, 808-468-7924, because I was surprised. And then wait, so I tried to put out 3 caches the other day. Only one got pushed. Another one got denied. Wow. Because it was too close to a house. Now, mind you, it was on the end of a corner surrounded by trees, and it was like a booger, like a green, I don't know what you guys, it's regional depending on what you call it. The power things, like a green box. We call it boogers. I don't know what you call it where you're from. But,
utility box.
Utility box. We call them boogers. and
because too close to a house. How close are you allowed to be to a house?
Oh, dude, I was easily 300 feet to 250, 300 feet away from the house. And there was big, huge trees about 15, 20 feet high, completely surrounding it, like bushes surrounding it.
That's absurd.
And they said, yeah. And he said, nope, can't do it. Nope.
Okay.
This
Some of these things are just getting absurd.
is my caching life, man. I'm trying to place them. You know, I love this game and I want to place them. Apparently, I'm not picking the right places to place them. So yeah, this is. So have you placed one recently?
It's been about a year since I've placed any, so maybe I should go out and try to place some that violates these rules and see what happens.
Yeah, I'd be curious too. Yeah, but you'd be very surprised how the rules have changed. You know,
Yeah.
Not that that's wrong. I mean, keeping adults away from kids is the right thing to do. But it's just funny how us old school cashers, or I was going to say old school, long time cashers, you think something is perfectly okay, and then nope, changed. So sorry guys, a little tangent. They're getting back. Jesse Brown, you have a couple more here.
Yeah, I have another one. Again, not geocaching related at all. But when we go on road trips and we, just kind of fly by the seat of our pants, the app that I use all the time is Expedia.
She does. She loves
I
her
use
Expedia.
it. I mean,
She
we're in the middle of nowhere and I'm like, all right, where are we going to stay? Well, let's see what's around us. Let's find us a hotel. And, comes in handy all the time. Plus, obviously you earn points and get discounts and whatnot. So
one of the great stories we have is we were in way southern Illinois, and it's like 1 a.m. and we're pulling into a hotel, and we call them up, and it's like the room's like, I don't know, $100, $125 or $100, and Jesse's like, let me look on Expedia, and she looks the same hotel for like same room for like $75, and so we literally in the parking lot on the app. Yeah, so Expedia, guys, is a great app to use when it comes to trying to find hotels.
I mean, I use Expedia, but I was unaware that they had an app.
You don't really? You don't even know they have an app? Oh yeah.
No, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I've got tons of different travel related apps. So
yeah. Keep going, Jess.
Yep. So one more I just want to mention, and I actually use this, but this was actually suggested by somebody, I believe, on Facebook, and that is an app called Glimpse.
Sure.
And I've used it. It's basically an app where you can send your location to other people, other users, to let them know where you are. They can follow you along your route. And one thing that you can do that's different than, other tracking apps is you can actually set up groups, which we've used at mega events, where you have, your group of friends and you all, join the group on Glimpse, and you can keep track of where everybody is and, arrange a meetup or whatever. So I thought that was a great suggestion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I started using it a couple of years ago when my wife was worried about where I was caching along the American River here in the Sacramento area, because there's a lot of homeless individuals around the areas, and she wanted to make sure that I was safe and know where I was. So I started using Glimpse there, and then since then I've started using it at mega events and stuff with the groups of individuals that I've been with, to know where we're all at with respect to each other.
Yeah, some old school listeners of this show might remember probably about before Taz's time. So that's about what, 4 years ago now? How long you been on here?
On the show, 4 years.
So God, over 4 years ago. God, I'm creeping up on 5, I think. Me, Daryl, me and Corey did a Glimpse test where we tried to find a cache clearly by somebody pointing us to it. What happened was, it was basically like me and Corey were out in the field, and Daryl was glimpsing us to the cache. So he was saying, he was watching us via Glimpse and saying, okay, go left, go right, go left or right. And then we had cameras on so he could see, and we were looking for the cache. I didn't find mine. Mine was not there. It was actually a DNF. Corey actually found his cache. If I could pull the episode number for you, I would. It's a really old a really old episode, but it's really fun. It's actually
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it's a really fun episode. Yeah, live in the field episode, rare for us. But yeah. Jesse Brown, is that all you got? I think that's all you got, right?
I think that's all I got. Yeah, because I mean, I use everything on your list. So, well, no, that's not true. I had one on my list, but apparently it's not available anymore. But I have it on my phone.
What's that?
It's an app called Hamster.
Yes.
And basically, it's a stalker app for your geocaching friends. and I know that
yeah.
there's a version for Android as well, or there used to be anyway, because a few years ago I did have an Android and I, went over to the dark side about 2 or 3 years ago. And I had one on my Android phone too, where you plug in, your friends, and it will notify you with their most recent finds, so you can constantly see. You always get updated on what their finds are. So I had this Hamster app on my list because I actually use it, but I guess I don't know. It's on my phone anyway. Maybe
does it work?
Maybe it's out there. Maybe you can sideload it or something.
Does it still work?
I don't know.
So I know there was one.
I didn't log in when I got my new phone, so I don't know.
Oh.
I don't recall if it was Hamster or not. There was one that I used several years ago, and it went defunct.
Really?
Maybe this one's the same way.
Well, why would you want to stalk your geocaching friends?
Well, if you're out there in the field and you're close by, sometimes it's cool to hey, you're in the area, let's meet up.
Well, if you're on an Apple, you got to Find My Friends, which is an app where if you and your friends agree, you could I could stalk
right
where they are at all times, not just geocaching, all time. Okay, Taz, what else you got, buddy?
So that kind of reminded me of an app that still works functionally, but is no longer in the store, called the Geocache Placer app.
Geocache Placer.
Yeah. And it was one where you can basically, it did the averaging for you, and you could put the notes, and you have everything in there, and you had details with relative to other cache distances and where you place them. So if you're placing a trail, it's easy to make sure that you're beyond the 528 feet limit.
Oh, nice. Look at that. Yeah, that's very nice. I like that.
So another one that I had, and it's kind of weird. It's not the app's weird, but most people would think, well, what value does it have? It's called GPS status. Mm-hmm. So it does more than just display the GPS status. One of the things that it does is you can have it set to automatically download the AGPS data, which is the assisted GPS data, which is an important thing because it has the almanac, which is where the satellites are located in the sky. And what this allows your phone to do, or any GPS to do, is to get a lock much quicker than it normally would. And so it's great when you're traveling outside of your normal caching area. Say you're in a different country where you don't want to pay roaming fees and you turn everything off. If you got the almanac there, when it first finds that first satellite, it knows, hey, this one's above me. I'm going to look for the other satellites around that. That's going to be around this one, and start pulling there, and it gets a lock extremely quickly when you do that. Another feature that it has is the ability to calibrate your compass. So if you got a phone where the compass calibration goes wacko every once in a while, it's easy to remember. Go in here, hit calibrate compass, do your flips and rotations and everything on your phone, and your compass is back to working again.
Oh, nice. Wow, maybe I should switch to Android, Jesse.
Well, I actually had that app on my Android.
Oh, did you?
Do you remember my Android that I had nothing but problems with? Not that I have anything against Android.
I very well remember.
Could have totally been user error.
Totally user error. Absolutely user error. Yes.
But I had a lot of issues with my GPS not working properly. And so that was the app that I used that, seemed to work for me. So.
And you liked it. It worked for you.
Yeah, but then I got rid of my Android, so it's good.
I was so happy when you did. Another one I use, My Altitude. I use this one, believe it or not. A lot of Earth caches, I use this one all the time because, in fact, Jessie and I just did an Earth cache. Another off topic here. Jessie and I just did an Earth cache where it was one of those Earth caches. It took us 45 minutes, babe, to do it. We had
Which one?
The one in the cemetery.
That wasn't an Earth cache.
That wasn't an Earth cache? What was it? That was a virtual.
No, that was a virtual.
Oh God, sorry. This was a virtual.
You didn't notice that it had nothing to do with geology?
No, dude. No, I'm thinking it's because.
Oh, yes, it did.
For this virtual, I had to take elevations and stuff for this virtual.
Okay.
Take elevations. That's why. That's why I'm bringing this up. That's because I always use the only time I use this app is on Earth caches. That's why. Because Earth cache is the only time you have to take an elevation. But we had this 45-minute virtual that was like 10 questions. It was absurd. Absolutely absurd. Although a beautiful place. Chad, you'd appreciate this. It's a cemetery inside of a parking lot in a strip mall. Let me do that again.
That is weird.
In a parking lot in a strip mall.
That's something I can honestly say I've never seen before.
Yep, and there's also there was a regular cache there, a traditional. Jess, is that still there? Was that still there? That cache?
I believe it's still there.
Yeah, I got that years ago, but like somebody put a virtual in the cemetery. So, yeah, it's a cemetery in a parking lot in a strip mall. It's that's only slightly crazier than one I saw. I once saw a cemetery in a parking lot in a mall parking lot, and it was the cemetery was in the middle of the parking lot, surrounded by tall trees. And it was one family's plot. So obviously it was the family's land, and they refused to give up that cemetery.
Right. The only weird cemetery like that I've seen is in the middle of the freeway, which is now interstate part of I-69.
Well, Jessie was with me on that. Jessie, where were we? We were in Tennessee, I think. No, we were in Kentucky. No, Memphis, Tennessee.
I don't remember where that was. I do remember going there, but I don't remember where it was.
I think it might have been right by Memphis, I think. I think it was right by there, right outside of Memphis. I think. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Somebody behind the cache in the chat room. We have a cemetery and a median and a Walmart in Summerville, South Carolina. There you go.
I wonder if that was it. I'm going to look that up.
No, we were in South Carolina.
Is there cache
honey.
there?
Honey, we weren't in South
Carolina. South Carolina.
Yeah, but this wasn't that trip when we were in South Carolina. We weren't with the kids. We were with the kids in South Carolina. No, it was the trip when we did God, what's the one in the cemetery? I always forget the name of it. That's got the really cool limestones and all that.
Oh, the grotto.
Yeah, the grotto. Thank you. The grotto.
Memphis?
Yeah.
That's in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
One like that in Louisville, Kentucky. Oh, maybe that's where it was.
Louisville, Kentucky.
In Louisville.
That could be, Jim Stark's telling us there's one like that in Louisville, Kentucky. I bet you that's there.
So, yeah, a friend of mine, Mustard Devil, is the owner of the grotto.
You know him?
Yes.
Have you been there?
I have not been to the grotto, but I've been on some crazy caching adventures with Mustard Devil.
It's a pretty incredible cache. It really is. It's one of those.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list.
Oh, it's just, yeah. Save some time because you're just gonna want to take it all in. It's not like a 5-minute kind of a cache, So getting back, My Altitude for elevation. It uses GPS signals to determine your current location, altitude, height from sea level, etc. But it also allows you to get a picture of where you are and save it into the photo album. And it takes barometric pressure and all that. It's just basically an altitude. Whenever you have an Earth cache and they say take an elevation, and you're like, but I don't have my GPS. Well, there's an app for that. That's as beautiful as that is. You could even take elevation with your phone.
Okay, Jim Stark says that there is a cemetery in the parking lot of Kings Island Amusement Park. And I've been to Kings Island growing up in Indiana. I've been to Kings Island dozens of times. Mm-hmm. I've never seen it.
Kings Island or the
the cemetery in the parking lot at Kings Island. So, but I always park pretty darn close because we would always get there early in the morning. So yeah, Kings Island's just north of Cincinnati.
Jim Stark seems to be the expert in cemeteries and parking lots because that's the second one he's given us.
Yep.
Kind of dark there, Jim. Kind of dark, buddy. We also got hold on, I got one more. I'm sorry, QR reader. The now scans QR codes, barcodes, puzzles, business cards, and documents. Okay, you always need a good QR reader. You never know when those puzzle caches are going to come out of nowhere with a QR. Jessie had one. What was the one, Jessie, I couldn't do that you did when you had your Android? It wasn't a QR reader. What was it?
NFS?
No, that was like an NFC or something.
Or NFC, yeah.
NSC? Is that what it was? Yes.
Yeah, near field communication. So I got a friend of mine who's put out a few with NFC on there. It's NFC tag, but he also put a QR code on top of it for those iOS folks that don't have an NFC reader.
Yeah, man. I don't have that. Do they still? I mean, QRs are pretty much dead. Do they even still? I know Microsoft killed off theirs. Does QR still around?
Yeah, QR code's still around.
Yeah, because Microsoft had their own QR code, and that's gone. That's dead. Whatever that was, it was called.
What's that? What's the name of that? The geolocation game where you go around scanning QR codes. Is Munzie. Yeah, so that's based on QR codes.
It's based on QR codes, yes, but
all right.
So I take it you don't Munzie, Chad.
No, I haven't Munzied in quite a while. So, although I did help someone place one in the middle of nowhere, Brazil.
But do you Pokemon?
I have not Pokemon since the second week that Pokemon Go came out.
Yeah, the winter of 2016 kind of killed it for me. That's when my Pokemon days ended. That summer of 2016, though, was a great summer. It's a good summer. Cubs the series and Pokemon Go was all the rage back then, summer 2016.
Oh yeah.
So my buddy Aaron he still plays the game. He's a millennial, and it's like his wheelhouse. Like this is he
right.
Totally his wheelhouse. He just got he's got level 40, which I guess is very hard to do. Very hard to do. Apparently, he just did it. So
I don't know. I've got a coworker, and every time we go to lunch and stuff, he's always on the damn thing. It's like, put your phone down, Justin.
Yeah, and let me get mine open to see Geo and find a cache around here. Better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Shane's just now starting with Jessie and I have had 3 children, and we've watched them grow up, and they've all gone through the same things at the same time. And now Shane is in the Pokemon phase, just like Cam was 3 years ago, just like Toby was 6 years ago. Shane is now all about the Pokemon cards, the actual cards.
Oh wow!
And so Cam had a whole tin of them, like a tin of them, a huge amount, and he gave him to Shane. Shane's like, "Oh, I could have these?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I haven't, yeah, take him." He's like, "Oh, thanks!" Like he couldn't believe it.
Oh wow!
Like in heaven, So, Chaz, you got anything else, sir?
I got one more. So for those of you that like to listen for Garmin chirp signals, it's the Ant Plus plug-in sampler. So you can actually pick up the Garmin chirp signals with a Samsung Galaxy or a Sony Xperia phone, because they have the Ant Plus radio on there, and with the plug-in sampler, you can just pick it up. So I've used it when I've not had just going out for a cache and didn't realize it was a chirp cache, and I didn't have my GPS with me. Pulled out my phone, boom, there it is. Got the next coordinates, next waypoint.
I don't think the iPhone has that. I've heard rumors of it, but
no, the iPhone doesn't have an Ant Plus. It's a specific radio, so it doesn't have an Ant Plus radio.
So your phone's better than mine. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Of course.
All right. Thank you, Taz. Jessie, you have anything else to add?
No, there's lots of there's lots of apps out there that I always see, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that's like. Oh, $4.99? Nope, I'm too cheap. I mean, how long did it take for me to finally break down and buy Cashly? I'm like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I'm so cheap when it comes to apps. Like I refuse to pay for an app. I don't know
And
why.
yet you buy useless things all the time.
I know. I just put in $2 to the office lottery pool yesterday. I threw that away.
Right.
The only app that I've ever paid for was the geocaching official app.
$10 app.
$10 app. That's the only one that I ever paid for it.
Which
All
was
the rest,
phenomenal.
huh?
It was a phenomenal.
No, I mean I don't use it.
No, you don't
That's
use
how great. That's how great it is. I don't use it.
Yeah, but did you use it before? Is this before CGO or is this like
No, CGO has been around since I've been geocaching.
so like
So
$10 and you basically just flush it down the toilet.
exactly.
Well done, sir.
Come to think of it, Scott, I'm pretty sure you were the one who convinced me to pay for the official geocaching app too.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah. I said, "Just
I'm
get it."
pretty sure you did because I was plenty happy with my CGO when we met.
You still miss CGO. I know.
But
You still
I
miss
miss
it. I
CGO.
know.
I would more than happily pay $10 for CGO though, and I'm sure I would more than happily pay whatever the fee is for Cashly.
Yes. Well done.
Oh,
Of
absolutely.
our sponsor. Well done, sir. But yeah, it is an amazing app. Cashly is just to bring it all around. The geocaching app, not a bad app. I do use the geocaching app. I use it whenever I do an earth cache, whenever I do a virtual cache, because I can actually I can actually send an email right there from the app when you're doing that. So that's kind of nice. I do use it for that. But other than that, I am pretty much a Cashly 100% of the time. I'm Cashly.
Okay, I can't say that I don't ever use the geocaching app. I do use it for the messaging.
And I use it for. I'm sorry. Yes, and the messaging. That's one of the reasons I use it. Yeah. Yes, I do.
But they didn't even have that feature back when I bought the app. So
No. Nick has got him beat. I mean, I love the geocaching app, but I love geocaching, but Nick he's got him beat, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's a tremendous app.
Nick,
One guy.
Nick,
Incredible.
we need an Android version, dude.
You're right. He's never gonna give you that. And why should he? You have CGO. You don't need it. Why should he?
True.
The CGO guy, Daryl's got him on twice a year. He's awesome too. The CGO guy. And Geo Gearheads has him on a lot.
The original developer or the individual, the people that took it over?
No, it was the original. So the German, I think he's German, isn't he, or something like that?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Caramello or I don't know. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, he did a great job, and then he kind of burnt out, and then he gave it up for another group of individuals to take it over and develop it further and keep everything going.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah. But it's when Jessie in its defense, when Jessie had it, it was a great app. I mean, like I used to watch Jessie use it, and it was a great app. It was. It got especially the whole maps things, the way the maps would load as you went further. The new apps would load and all that kind of stuff. Or anything like that. It was kind of nice.
The one thing that I really, really miss from it is being able to very quickly see who of your friends has found the cache that you were looking at. That's like the one feature that I used all the time. That I
swipe all the way right.
Yeah, swipe all the way to the right. That's right.
Yep, swipe all the way over.
Behind the Cache in the chat room said, I asked Cashly about messaging, and he said it's something geocaching just won't let it go. No, they're not going to let that go. That's got to be way too internal for that. I don't think they'd give Nick access to that. Although we'll have Nick on the show one day, and we could all call in and ask him these questions. So trust me, I always have a ton of questions for Nick. So that show will be happening soon. But this show, unfortunately, has got to come to an end. It is 9:30 almost. So it is time to end the show. Chad, always a pleasure to talk to you, sir.
And you as well.
And we will be back next week for Halloween, our Halloween episode. Chad, you got to come in costume. It's a rule.
Ooh. What should I wear?
So, all right, let me get this together and let me play the closing music here. Please join us again next week as we take your calls live every Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, right here at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. The archive video versions of our podcast are available on our website or on our YouTube channel, and the audio versions are available on most of your favorite podcatchers. If you like the show, please head on over to Apple iTunes and rate, review, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it, and it really helps the show when you do. Now, let me halt this for a second here. I know this is the ending thing, but like, I got an email. I got a lot of emails. I was putting out a lot of fires this week about people like the new feed and all the podcatchers that it wasn't picking up. And I put up all the fires except for one, which was Stitcher. Stitcher wasn't showing the new feed, and a couple of listeners said, "Hey, it's not doing Stitcher." So if you are a Stitcher user and you're listening to this elsewhere, rest assured, I reapplied it to Stitcher. So I think they said 2 weeks, unfortunately. So keep checking Stitcher. It should be a new feed coming, and then it should be good to go. So sorry. All right. Continuing. Sorry. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for updates on upcoming shows and general geocaching information. And if you haven't already, please consider becoming a patron of our show. With tiers starting as low as $3, you will get a ton of additional information, extra videos, and extra audio, only available to available to patron members. Start that again. Please head on over to patreon.com today and subscribe. That's patreon.com/the Geocaching Podcast. It really does help the show, and we really do need it. Thanks, guys, so much. We so appreciate it. More stuff's coming on your end very, very soon. That's all we got this week, so we'll see you next week talking geocaching and taking your phone calls. In the meantime, be good, be safe, hug your loved ones, and we will talk to you guys next week. We are clean.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the callers that called in, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Have a good week, guys.
Bye-bye.